Now for something special. The unit is self-contained with its own saddler, farrier, wheelwright and so on. It's a rigorous training dished out who know all there is to know about horses, and it brings results.
We take you behind the scenes now to show just some of the interesting aspects of this training.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine, the award-winning #1 podcast to create sounder horses from the ground up. Mike Stine is a registered journeyman farrier with an APF1 accreditation. On this week's show, joining us here live in the studio, we have Eva Clark, all the way from Oregon. She's an accredited farrier. She's going to talk about mentoring in the farrier industry, customer service, as well as business management. All this and much, much more will be discussed here on Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. And over to my far end side is Mike Stine. How are you?
I am doing good, Travis. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Mike, have just returned from my second of my whole entire life horse show.
So now you've got the whole thing under control.
No. Well, yes. I mean, for the most part, I was so worried about packing up like food and stuff for, because I'm a very, very regiment guy. I have to have my breakfast, I have to have my lunch, I have to have my, whatever dinner.
Didn't want to miss a meal.
Didn't want to miss a meal. And I noticed, like, when we do clinics and stuff, it's always like kind of willy-nilly. No one really knows what the left hand and the right hand's doing. So I packed like everything that I could pack. So you took 3 vehicles to get there. Almost. My whole entire truck for 2 days, my whole entire Chevy Silverado out there was completely packed with blankets and food and all that stuff. And you know what? I brought just about all of it back. So it was things.
You were over prepared.
Right. But there were so many horses, and we were at, Rayford? That we were out there at the big horse facility.
Carolina Horse Park.
Yep. And it was a dressage in the park type show. Now, Here's the thing. I had a great time. We were there, Brett the trainer and a couple of his riders and my wife as well. And so we're sitting there, and you've been out there, and there's at least 50 to 100 stalls out there, right?
There's a lot more than that.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, from what I could see, there was 100 and some odd stalls out there, and everyone's got their horse in the stalls. So it's the last day, and we're all wrapping up and everything. And we're all sitting in our chairs and, in front of the stalls, and Diego's over here, and Oscar's over here, and Brett's hanging out over here. And all of a sudden, we heard this, what you don't want to hear at a horse show. You hear boom, boom, like on a trailer, boom, boom. And all of a sudden, you hear someone go, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Right.
So we all, and this is close. This is like the stalls on the next row over. Mm-hmm. So we jump up, and there's a horse that got loose.
That happens.
And he or she, I don't know, mare or whatever, the horse was running around, and here's this little blonde girl, probably about 110 pounds, chasing this horse.
Could she outrun it?
Well, she was, doing the best she could. She finally got the horse.
Right.
And she didn't have a lead line or anything like that. She just had, the hay twine and was trying to unravel it real quick. And she's a nervous wreck. And she's, throws it over the horse as a halter and brings the horse up and puts it back in the trailer. The trailer that she had was a 3-stall slant.
Right.
Trailer with you can put all the tacks and the hay and stuff on the tail of the truck. What had happened was, my wife goes over there and she's like, are you sure you don't need help? No, I'm fine. And my wife being, in the business and learning that this young lady, probably in her mid-20s, actually needed help.
Right.
So my wife goes over there, and I'm just sitting there because I'm just enjoying the show. I'm like, oh, she's just going to help her. And
you thought that was just sideline entertainment.
Yeah. But I couldn't see it because, she was on the next aisle over. And then I'm like, my wife's taking a long time to get back. So I walk over there. And I go, whoa, this is a little bit more than just putting the horse back on the trailer.
Right.
What had happened was, it's a double door trailer, and that metal piece that goes up and down where the doors lock into?
Right.
So the horse that she was loading up, the one that got out, spooked, darted out backwards, and knocked that whole entire metal piece out. So now, my wife and this young girl who's just a nervous wreck is trying to figure out how
to put the trailer back together.
How to put it back together. Now, Granted, the bottom was locked in, but it was all bent up, and the top was completely shot. So I go over there, and I'm like going, my wife's like, hey, can you help us tie this, with the hay ties and stuff like that, to get it to where the doors will shut. So I was able to put the pin in the top, tie it to one of the bars that were in there, and kind of firm it up. And after we got it all in, I shut the doors and locked them, and I gave them a good pull, and they weren't coming out. And I said to the young girl, she's like, oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I said, who are you here with? She's like, I'm here by myself. I said, and you've got 3 horses. Well, actually, she had 2 horses, and they were up in the nose of the trailer by then.
Right.
She's got these 2. I said, you've got this big, long, it's got to be 28, if not 30-foot long trailer.
Right.
Plus, she's got a big old dually. And she's like, oh, my God, I borrowed this trailer from my friend so I could do this show. And I'm so nervous. Thank you so much. You and your wife were awesome. What's your names? We told her names and everything. She's like, I'm going to pray for you. I said, we're going to pray for you. I said, how long is your drive? She said 3 hours. I said, whoa. I said, you're going to be in this truck 3 hours, fingernails into the steering wheel, wondering if the rope and string and everything that I tied to hold that escutcheon up or whatever.
Hopefully she got home okay.
I hope she did. I wish we would have gotten her phone number to make sure that she was okay or communicated with her. But yeah, I was so worried that but that's got to be scary. I mean, like I said, she was in her mid-20s
right.
or early 20 or early to mid-20s, and just this little petite little thing, and that's a big not accomplishment, but that's a big task to take on, loading the horses up and moving the big trailer. And I'll tell you, the reason why I say it's a big accomplishment, because I personally could not do it.
Right.
I personally could not drive that dually around with that big log trailer or anything like that. That's why when my wife drives, or when we do horse shows and we're trailering, my wife drives. I don't drive, because I'll drive it like there's a boat on the back. I'll just, and she's like, you got to slow down. There's horses in the back. So
you'll teach him to stand up, won't you?
Yeah. And then we got on a big whole discussion there. You remember Bradley?
Yes, I remember Bradley.
He's a veterinarian. He raises cattle and stuff.
Yep.
And we were talking about how many people do not understand, speaking of trailers, the angles that, when you hook a trailer up to your truck or whatever,
right.
that most of them, just about 80% of the trailers that are hooked up to the trucks or their vehicles were all wrong. They were like at a 16-degree angle.
Right. So they're just loading the back axle.
Yeah. And it's just, so we had a big discussion about that as well. So there you go. All right. Well, you got anything going on? I didn't mean to cut you off.
A few things going on, but I don't have time now.
Yeah, time.
Well, remember the horse a little while back? We went and opened up the foot because I had damage to the tip of the cough ball on the hind foot.
Yes.
Went with the vet. The vet met me there on Saturday, and we ran x-rays and all that kind of stuff, and it's in good shape. The lady's riding the horse again. They were worried about, at one point, they were on the time I got involved, they were on the edge of possibly putting it down. And so that horse is doing well. And you remember Becky?
Yes.
Holder.
Becky Holder,
yes.
Yeah.
She just took Corey down to Florida and did his first 2-star. And he did well. And we'd been going back and forth on him with a few things and trying to get his movement patterns cleaned up and all that. And apparently he did right respectfully.
Well, good. So everyone's successful all across the board for everyone that was involved in the horse community.
Right.
At least in our aspect, in our little world.
Right.
Okay, guys, we got a big show to get into, lots to talk about, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Eva Clark, all the way from Oregon. She's going to be joining us here on the show, so if you're not on YouTube right now, go over to YouTube, search Equine Dynamics, give them a little subscribe over there, you can see this all in real time as we're talking about it here on the show. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Aw, puppy dog.
Not even a real dog, a toy.
Exactly. It's not even real.
Mm-hmm. All right, you can hear
Sure.
You can hear me and you can hear Mike.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
All right, that's all I need. I think we're good to go. She maintained a composure.
What is that?
I don't know. I just love saying that. It makes me sound funny. Funny and smart at the same time.
Yeah, it makes you sound educated.
It does make me sound very educated. All right, here we go. Before anything else falls apart on the boat. All right, here we go. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. Don't forget, you can join the podcast. The way you can do that is to go over to equinedynamics.com. At the very top of the page says join the podcast. Click on that, opens up another screen on your device, wherever you're listening to us on or at. And you can physically, audioly join us here in the studio because there's a little microphone on that. It says be heard. Click on that. You can leave a message, comes right to our inbox, and we will play your voice alongside of us here in the studio. We broadcast every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, and a little town we like to call Marshville. So get your voice in now. We're in the middle of season 14, but you can ask us anything over the last 14 seasons, 4 years of doing the show. Mike, this is actually, next week will be actually 4 years of doing
Wow.
this show. So
It's been a while.
November 21st. So we got
and yet, you still talk to me.
I still talk to you, and I still mess up things in the background. So if you're watching this on the YouTube video, jump on over there right now, because you're in for a very special treat, because joining us all the way from Oregon is an accredited farrier. Joining us here at the show is Eva Clark. Thank you very much for joining us and having patience with us during that little break that we had there. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
So give us a little background. When Mike says he gives me, someone that's going to be on the show, I kind of just do a little bit of research. I look them up on Facebook just to see, what they're about and where they're from, and kind of.
She's from Oregon.
Yes, and what she, what the person looks like. So when I pop up someone on the screen here in the studio, I'm like, oh, yep, that's the person that's supposed to be on the show, and not some other creepo on the other side. So I noticed you have a military background. Tell me, how did the military get into, or help you get into being a farrier, or is it just kind of, I did the military and now I'm going on to do something else? So how did you get into the farrier and the military all at the same time?
I was active duty in the late 90s, and then I had an extended period of time away from the military, and I'm now a naval reservist with the U.S. Navy. And I've been with the Navy since 2015. So I'm still an active reservist.
Now,
no, there's no correlation to being a farrier.
So how did you go from, once you were in the Navy, did you ride horses or anything when you were in the Navy? Were you around horses, or were you around the farrier business, or was continuing like the education, the biomechanics, kind of your niche as far as, getting you into the horse, or under a horse, I should say?
None of the above, honestly. It was an unfortunate accident. I never intended to be a farrier. I never wanted to be a farrier. When I purchased my first horse as an adult using my own money, I was training it on the property where I was boarding it. And there was a retired master farrier living on site. And he started teaching me against my will. And, he was an elderly gentleman, and he couldn't work on his own horse anymore because of his arthritis and his other age-related infirmities. And so there were about 14, 15 horses on the property. He started teaching me how to trim them. He still had all of his educational materials. He used to be an assistant educator at a college. And so he started teaching me and training me. We were practicing on horses. He still had tools he gave me. And then one day out of the blue, I showed up to train my horse, and he said, "You're going to shoe my horse today." And I said, "Oh, no, I'm not."
And there you go.
6 hours later, that horse had shoes.
So when I was at this horse show, there was a couple retired military people, and we were kind of talking about the military and everything. And I made this statement about, I think the military is one of the best things, if you, not that you don't have a plan, but if you want to be shaped and molded and I forget how I word it. If you don't have a plan in life, or you want to see the world, I think the military, no matter what branch of the military it's in, because they'll teach you the tools that you need to survive and go through life. When you were in the military, did you see that as, the way that the military trained you? Did that kind of repeat itself, the training to be a farrier, the detail stuff, how things work, because Mike tells me all the time, I put a half a shim in this way and half a shim that way. And I'm like, oh, none of that stuff makes sense to me. Did military, the way that they, I don't want to say program you, because that's kind of, I don't want to say that, but the way that they trained you, does that help in your farrier business? Okay, this is, solving a problem, I guess is what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's, it furthers your willingness to be committed to a goal. And
all of us need to be committed.
Well, anyway. But yeah, the military absolutely did and still does shape me. I'm in a leadership position right now in the military. And that also helps me, because you have to step back and kind of see yourself from somebody else's point of view. And that's how your clients see you too, as a farrier. You have to be able to take that step back and see yourself and how you're doing and what you're doing.
So you had this older gentleman, this retired gentleman, train you on how to do horses. And now through your experience and stuff, you are reaching out and quote unquote mentoring? Are you mentoring anyone? And explain, how the process, as far as, you want to stress how important it is to mentor new farriers.
My beginning in the farrier industry is what helped me see how critical mentors are, because unlike some other farriers, some of them went straight to school before they even rode with anybody. Some of them rode with people and then went to school. Some of them didn't go to school at all. Where it's helped me, I didn't realize I needed a mentor until I had my first mentor, and I realized how critical it was for my education and ongoing education, because being trained by just one single person, he was amazing and intelligent and very, very experienced and able to bring a lot to the plate, but it's never enough. It just is never enough. And when I started riding with other people, it all started clicking in place.
Go ahead, Mike. You were going to say something?
Yeah, there's no end to what you can dig into when you're learning about being a farrier. There's so much involved. And
well, there's also the way, over the years that Mike and I have been talking, there's just so much information that Mike himself has through his schooling, through on the field training and on the field experience.
I had a number of mentors.
Well, you had a tremendous amount of mentors, but here's the thing. Mike has had people he has mentored, but this I don't want to say next generation, but the next generation of these farriers that are coming in, we're kind of like, all right, I went to school, I can do horses now, I just want a paycheck, or I can do everything, I'm the smartest kid on the block, or the smartest kid in the stall, and they're not getting that mentorship. And I guess I'm saying that, stressing how much to team up with someone. What are you doing over there?
Bothering you.
I know. Teaming up with someone in a mentorship. Now, do you have are you mentoring anyone right now?
Yes, I have 3 people. They're just fellow farriers that work with me, and they're kind enough to give me their time. But we all learn from each other. It's kind of...
Sometimes it's just learning what not to do.
That's correct. Absolutely. That is correct. We learn from each other what not to do. I've had quite a few more years than all 3 of them combined, but it's still a great experience. Like 2 of them went to school, and then another one of them was trained by a journeyman farrier. And so I learn a lot from them, because the school now, it's ever evolving. They learned things in school that some of the other people I've worked with, that was unheard of. And I've gone and visited a few schools multiple times, and I learned something at each and every experience. I learned something new, and like Mike said, sometimes I learn what not to do.
So the evolution of the farrier, Mike does a lot of foraging and things of that nature. Eva, do you do foraging? Do you do build shoes right there on the spot, or are you kind of like a cookie cutter? This one takes a 16D shoe, I'm going to put it on the horse, That's
a really big horse I would never work on.
Is that a real shoe, by the way?
Yeah, exactly. I can forage. It is not something I regularly do. I'm, for lack of better terms, I'm a cold banger. It's a derogatory term in the farrier industry. But I can forage. I do use my forage. I do hot shoe. I do hot seat. I hot shape. I do modifications on existing shoes. Do I create them from scratch? No, sir, I don't.
I have, for the most part, I am modifying shoes.
So with today's technology rolling around, I personally see, now it'll never happen in my lifetime or Mike's lifetime or any of our lifetimes, but I see it to where the forge is going to go away, and the 3D printer and the material, you'll roll out the 3D printer on the back of your tack unit there, and all you're going to do is take a picture of the horse's foot, punch in a bunch of numbers, and it's going to spit out a shoe with the angles and the pitch and all that stuff, and then someone's just going to put a little bit of epoxy on it, stick it on, and then that whole farrier experience is gone.
We don't need them anymore.
Yeah, the education. So it makes sure that you're mentoring with someone, no matter what stage of your your profession that you're in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's evolution has been happening for hundreds of thousands of years. We cannot stop it.
No.
There's a lot of people that would like to try to stop that evolution in the farrier industry. It's not going to happen. And one of the hidden gems I've found with regards to mentoring, ride with veterinarians, multiple veterinarians.
Yeah.
That's a little hidden group of knowledge that we actually didn't know we needed, but we need it in our ongoing education.
Because
Right.
it doesn't just stop at the hoof; it goes all the way up, and how it affects the whole entire horse.
Well, I've had mentors that were, I mean, I've a number of vets I've worked with, like Dr. Management and all that. And, of course, my buddy that was the body worker and saddle fitter, we went back and forth about stuff for years, and that kind of brings another view to it. Because
It's true. There's so many dynamics.
there's so many variables that you'll never pin them all down.
It is truly teamwork. We have to have the trainer's input. We have to have the veterinarian's input. And there's plenty of fair. In the beginning, I was no different. All I knew about was the hoof and what I was trimming and shoeing. I didn't understand the horse and why I was shoeing that horse. And even one horse today might be different 5, 6, 7 weeks from now. So I
Right.
need to understand every time I meet that horse why I'm shoeing him and what I'm doing.
It's always different.
All right, we're going to take a quick little break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into customer service in the farrier industry and how it's changing and what needs to be done to it. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Just bring her in the picture a little bit more. I'm doing a little editing here on the backside here. So, Eva, doing good. You all right?
I am, yes, sir.
Okay.
And Travis will be
Brought
able
all
to.
my filters to this game.
You're what? Well, I'm sorry. Say it again. Mike talked over you.
I brought all my filters. I don't have very good filters, so.
No, you're fine. Hey, you look good. There's nothing wrong with.
No, I meant my filters.
Oh, your mouth filters. Oh, verbal filters. Gotcha. That's all right. You're allowed to say all that stuff. I can edit it out if you want, or I can leave it in. I can leave it in if you want. I don't care. And another thing about John Farrier. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about that. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. Don't forget to follow him over on Facebook. The way you do that is just search Equine Dynamics Mike Stine. He's got a Facebook page over there. And you know what? I was while I was at the horse show thing over there in Rayford,
Yes.
I was looking at the Facebook page, and like every other scroll that I did, I was reading all your stuff that you post over there, and you post all the diagrams and stuff. And it's interesting because I'm sitting there looking at it and trying to look at these horses and trying to match them up. You know how they do the warm-up session,
Right.
And I'm looking at all the horses and all the different shaped horses, and I'm looking at the diagram. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm looking at. So I was trying to put what you do on Facebook and try to incorporate that in the show. And over to my far hand side, my very own incorporate man is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good, Travis. How are you? And how are you, Eva?
I'm fantastic, sir.
And joining us all the way from Oregon, an accredited farrier, Eva Clark is joining us here in the studio. You can see her over on YouTube. Go over there and search Equine Dynamics Mike Stine over on YouTube, and you can see the whole entire podcast, all the shenanigans that goes on and off the camera, and the whole entire unedited podcast over there as well. So thank you very much for joining us. So we're going to talk about, you were talking about, we left off with you teaming up with like your vets and how important it is to do that. Another thing that's very important, and you wanted to discuss, is customer service. Now, when you say customer service, are you talking about when does customer service start for you? Is it the phone call? Hey, I need more horseshoed, or is it the existing clients that you have?
All of the above. You can't run an effective business without good customer service. I mean, there's plenty of people out there that would argue and say, I'm running my business just fine. Well, okay, but how do people really think about you? Because as we've learned, the horse community is really small. And
it is very small.
What you say to your very best client that you trust and you've been working on for 20 years, this will go no further. I can talk about whatever I want.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true. This is the horse industry, and
It'll beat you across
will hear
town.
what you said to your farrier or your best client. And so customer service starts with owning a business.
And sometimes I have people ask me what I think.
That's a mistake.
You think?
Just wasted breath on Mike. No, but when you talk about customer service, it goes more, when I think customer service, because I've got somewhat of a retail background. We were always taught to smile and say thank you for shopping with us. You know, that when you think customer service, you think about the reason why I bring up the phone call, you want someone on the opposite end. I can call, for a prime example, to have my septic tank pumped, which is literally the crappiest job to have.
It is a crappy job.
And if I call, company one, they go, yeah, whatever, Joe Septic. And then the next one, Tom Septic. And then I get, hi, Green Septic. How can I help you? Guess who I'm going with?
Exactly. I worked in customer service for 18 years, so I absolutely understand. And I feel that gave me the advantage owning my own business and working as a farrier, because I already had that background, and it took me a long time to understand, like what you just demonstrated, how people answer the phone. It took me a long time just to understand that much about how my customers felt about the experience they were getting when they would call and I would answer the phone.
Yeah, I took a long, slow, miserable road learning about customer service.
Yeah, to talk to Mike one-on-one, you need to physically, don't call Mike. Don't ever call Mike, because, the spam calls and stuff. You physically need to learn Mike first before you, and then he'll work his customer service around you. Give us some other examples. Once you're underneath the horse and you have to tell a client, hey, we have to do this with a shoe. How does being a farrier and communicating customer service to your clients, what are some approaches that you take?
Well, there's two sides to that. The first thing I can say about that is be honest about what you're seeing, and be honest about your ability. If you're down there and you see something that maybe you don't understand, and as a client you've either just obtained or you've had for a long time, regardless, be honest. If it's something you don't recognize, explain that to them.
Right.
And don't say, oh, I don't know what this is, because that's another thing. Your words and your tone mean a lot. If they just think that you either don't care about the issue or don't understand it and don't care to understand it, that's gonna leave them thinking, hey, maybe I should hire somebody else. But if you have the right tone and the right words and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing down here, I don't understand this, but I'm going to make sure that I understand this so that we can take care of your horse in the best way possible.
Right.
And I'm going to call your veterinarian, or I'm going to call another farrier that I work well with, and we're going to, team up on this and get this solved. Because the other thing that customers don't like to hear, I can't, or I won't. They don't like those negative words. Even if you're just being honest, I can't do this. Don't say it like that. Don't say I can't do this. Find a more political.
It's more of an open end. You need to, I can't, but, you want to have it open end because, and then explain or whatever. Mike, you were going to say something? Oh, now he's dying.
Yeah, those using your mentors, your friends out there, and all
resources.
Your resources.
We are a big community.
Use the phone a friend, and also when you run into those things like that, there in front of you is a learning opportunity to better yourself as a farrier.
It's almost along the same lines as being a farrier as having great bedside manners. A doctor or even dentists, or not that dentists aren't doctors, but I mean having good bedside manners as a farrier to explain, quote unquote customer service to a client.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really important how they view you, and don't even use the word can't. It's a negative trigger. One of my degrees is in psychology. Once you've triggered a customer, like I said, I did customer service for 18 years. Once you've triggered them, you shut them down. They've stopped listening. They've stopped, sharing that dialogue with you. And once they're shut down, they get inside their head and they're sitting there playing out all they can't. And that's it. That's where they've gone from there, and you've lost them.
Right.
So don't start with I can't, I won't, I don't have it, I don't want to do it. Those negative words, even if they seem harmless, they are the fastest way to close a door.
Yep. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say I can't.
No, I understand. I learned that from all my years of customer service, unfortunately from experience. I've had some yellers and some screamers.
Oh yeah, we all have, for sure. And you always look at these opportunities as like I said, it's a learning process when you run into something you haven't seen before.
Right. Absolutely. It's always that's a positive word. Always use things like that. Opportunity.
We're going to learn opportunity to learn something.
Yeah, it's you'd be amazed how simple one little word can be, what a difference it can make in customer service.
Well, I'm going to take a quick little opportunity and take a break, and we're going to come back and talk about business management in the industry of being a farrier. So stick around. We're talking to Eva Clark right here on Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. How's your coffee, Mike?
What do you put in it?
What do you mean what I put in?
A strange taste to it.
What's it taste like? Coffee? I didn't put anything in it.
Better than the coffee you didn't get me.
It tastes a little bit like what got in my mouth when I siphoned out my radiator.
What it is, Mike, you're so used to drinking crappy coffee.
Probably.
that when I break out the McDonald's McCafe coffee, you're from the good stuff. You're not used to it. You used to filtering your coffee through. I don't know. I might have made it a little strong, but
I'm just messing with you.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
I was gonna say because that's what my wife drinks. I drink, Mike.
You drink like gourmet coffee.
I drink. My coffee is blueberry. I have a blueberry. I have a blueberry coffee. Yes, it's very
I didn't
very
know
good.
there was such a critter.
I forget.
That's foo-foo.
It's not foo-foo.
He drinks foo-foo coffee.
It's antioxidants, and black coffee is good for your system. It helps you. Okay. It helps you. Yeah, she's like, whatever, Travis. Do what you want there, weirdo radio boy.
Yeah, I mean, Travis is such an outstanding specimen of a man.
It's, you know what? Well, I've tried. I've cut out sugars, like sodas and stuff like that. And sweets are rare. And that was one thing. If I was going to drink coffee, I wanted a little bit of. I can't do hazelnut. So I saw blueberry coffee. I'm like, oh, I like blueberries. So it's good for you. No one's listening to me. Nobody cares.
He goes to Starbucks.
I know. Even wants to get on with this show.
I'm fine. I am.
Mike, you ready?
Yes.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. If you don't want to go on the air, that's fine. You have a question for Mike, you can email him at any time. Go to equinedynamics.com. At the very top of the page says contacts. Fill out that little form. Put your question in there. Make sure you put a physical return address. We have some swag and stuff. I still have the Thanksgiving stuff. It hasn't come in yet, but it's getting ready to ship here soon.
Boy.
It's on route. I think it's supposed to be here later on today. But you can get yours right now. Go to equinedynamics.com and fill out that little form at the top. Says contacts. Ask your question.
The Halloween stickers went real fast.
Yeah, they went like gangbusters there. And fill out that little form. Make sure you put a physical return address, and we'll send you out some stuff. If we run out of Thanksgiving stuff, well, guess what? You're next in line for all the Christmas stuff that we have. So either way, it's a win-win across the board. And over my far end side, my very own holly jolly Christmas guy is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
And joining us this week, all the way from Oregon, an accredited farrier, Eva Clark is joining us in the studio, and on YouTube as well. So thank you very much for joining us, Eva.
Good morning, gentlemen.
So now we've talked about mentoring and how important mentoring is, and then how that kind of folds into customer service and having good bedside manners. And now the hardest part of the whole entire farrier industry is business management. Now, when we say business management, I do a horse, I send you an invoice, the invoice gets paid, and then that's it, right? Isn't that three simple steps, right?
That.
Is it three simple steps? So tell us what we're seeing on your end as far as when you talk about business management.
Well, some of the farrier schools teach a little bit of this. Some. The biggest thing, my biggest takeaway is don't get your advice from a farrier.
Because they're all broke and poor, and
well, not just that. Truly, it's all about staying in your lane. Our job is to shoe a horse or to trim a horse or something regarding that horse. Most of us, this is the only business we've ever owned, and quite a few of us, this is the only job we've ever worked. So unless they have a license in business management or education, or maybe they're a retired college professor and that's what they did, do not take your advice from a farrier, because they don't mean poorly, but you're going to get bad advice. I was given very bad advice at the beginning of my career because I got all my advice from farriers.
That's a bad place to get advice.
It truly is.
Give us an example of what bad advice that you received.
I can write off everything on my taxes. Like I can write off the feed for my horse and the board I pay for my horse because I'm using that horse to educate others. And I can write off my clothes that I wear to work and my safety shoes because they're needed for my job. None of that's true, actually. And if you can write it off. You can write all that stuff off day and night, and it's no trouble till you get audited. And then all of a sudden, oh crap, I shouldn't have been writing that off all these years, because it actually happens. I've met people that have been audited. I myself have been audited. It didn't come to anything negative because I was on the up and up, but I was given some very, very bad advice from farriers. They're telling me what I needed to do with my vehicle and how I needed to purchase my vehicles. And it's okay to talk to people about, hey, this is what I did with my business, but don't say you should do this, that you have to do this, you need to do this. Don't tell other people what to do. It's just like you don't tell your clients what to do. Tell them what you would do, but don't tell them what to do.
So I'm kind of ripped and torn between these two concepts. So the reason why I'm ripped and torn here is because here you are, you're a farrier, and if you run into a problem on a horse shoe or something like that, you turn to your farrier friends, your farrier community, and you're like going, hey, how do I fix this? This is what I'm looking at. What do you think? You know, the ideas and that. Then on the flip side of that coin is like, hey, we're all in the same business together. Some have more, heads of horses or more, stocks or whatever than others, but we're all basically doing the same thing. And so if I go to you for business advice, you're like going, no, those are the worst people to get business advice from. So I'm like going, okay, so are you recommending, like my wife and I, we have, our jobs here, which is very, I say basic, it's 1099 and a W-2, but we do have an LLC for the farm that we live in or live on. And we write off, but we go through a CPA to make sure, hey, where do we need to put this? Where do we need to file this type of money? Where do we need to file the feed for the horses and all this stuff? Are you talking maybe getting professional advice as far as business management?
Well, you said the magic acronym, CPA.
Okay.
Right.
They are trained in that area, and in the farrier industry, there's a bazillion dynamics. And like, I work in a completely different area than Mike works. And so what works for me might not work for him.
Right.
Business wise, that's the same in the business. Just because I'm charging $5 a horse here, 10 miles down the road, Joe is charging $50 a horse. We can't all be the same. It just doesn't work.
No.
But it's the same with advice. You can ask a person, hey, what do you do? But that doesn't make it the end all be all. It doesn't make it the right answer. CPA, magic answer. Insurance agent, magic answer. That's the other advice I was given. Oh, you don't need insurance. You do, actually. You do need insurance.
When I was out at the horse show, to go back to the beginning of the broadcast, the veterinarian who has the head of cattle and stuff, he was saying for him to go onto someone's property, he had to carry liability insurance up $3 million up to $6 million because he was dealing with 100 head of cattle at any given time. And I kind of questioned, I said, well, I wonder what my farrier carries as far as insurance, as far as, liability and all that stuff. Is that something that you, I'm assuming that you have insurance, that covers all that stuff. And I'm assuming both of you do. Yeah.
I've had to, like when I was doing the FEI stuff and then when I did the racetrack stuff, they wanted a letter of proof of insurance.
Yeah, I've worked for places like that require a binder and proof of insurance. And
so what's like the average as far as, when I say the guy who's dealing with the veterinarian who's dealing with the head of cattle, 100 head of cattle at any given time was 3 and 6 million. What is like a farrier, people getting into the game, or is it based on how many horses that they take care of? I mean, what's on the average? Not to get into yours, but what's like an average for starter
based on the type of horses that you work on, because none of my clients, I can't say none, a majority of my clients don't own horses worth more than 4 figures. I have a few 5-figure horses, but I know other farriers that work on 7-figure horses. And so your insurance policy needs to reflect your job.
Right.
That the types of horses that you work on, the types of barns you work in, the type of equipment you own that needs to be covered. And if you have a good insurance agent, they will ask you all those questions and narrow down what you need. My insurance agent asked me specifically, what's the most expensive horse you work on? And she asked me about the types of tools I own and the type of vehicles that I use and the types of places I work. So a good insurance agent will help you make that decision. You should always be going to subject matter experts on, insurance or taxes or, vehicle maintenance. A farrier is not a subject matter expert on any of those things, contrary to what they might tell you.
That's like when I go to vehicles, I call Nick.
Yeah, he's a mechanic.
Right.
Now, do you use like QuickBooks or something that, how do you catalog all your appointments and everything like that? What kind of, tools? I say, the evolution of technology and stuff, we have all these things available to us like QuickBooks and schedulings and things like that. Do you use QuickBooks, or is it, pen and paper and receipts, and at the end of the year, you're just flipping through receipts and piles and piles of paper everywhere?
I use QuickBooks Self-Employed. It's for sole proprietors. And so it's kind of dumbed down. It's not quite as finance heavy as the good old fashioned regular QuickBooks. And it targets people that work for themselves and they're not selling a product. So that's what I use. They've evolved. It's not called Self-Employed anymore. Now I think it's called QuickBooks Sole Proprietor or something like that.
Is there a service fee on that? Because I was looking up something the other day. Was that
it's a monthly subscription?
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you.
And it connects directly into my CPA. He has access to it from the backside.
Oh, very nice. That's good to know. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, one thing I'll throw in there, and I always, because of my own experience, and I've got people to send them to if they want to talk about it, but I run into so many farriers that have never prepared for the future. And
are you talking about like retirement?
Right.
Or an accident or something of that nature?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
All of the above.
Okay.
All of the above. But setting up drafts, setting up, stuff going into Roth steps, whatever you want to do, so that when you get to that point, you can retire. Because I know farriers that have gotten where injuries due to whatever, and it's like, I'm in trouble because I don't have anything put back anywhere.
Now, I see, Eva, you've got a IAPF shirt on.
Yes, sir.
And are you part of that organization, the International Farriers Association, with that?
Yes, sir. I'm on the board of directors.
The question that
if it wasn't for Eva, there wouldn't be an association.
The question that I have, because again, talking to this veterinary gentleman, friend of mine, we were talking about insurance. Does the IPF? Hold on, excuse me. Does the IAPF offer farrier insurance as a collective? Like,
no, we work with insurance companies that we recommend, but we don't, as an organization, offer anything. We're just a volunteer nonprofit organization.
Okay.
But we help bring the community together and all the resources and dynamics and networking so that we have resources like insurance options. Now,
and Mike was slowly touching on planning for the future. Something that you might not see in the future is getting hurt. Now, when we talk about insurance, covering liability and stuff, is the workman's comp kind of folded into that, or is that something?
You have to have a disability policy.
Okay, so it's a disability policy that's available as well.
Right.
And a lot of people, will they forego that, or because it's cheaper, or?
A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people think they don't need it. And there's dynamics to that too. Like, oh, well, I'm married to a doctor. She'll just support me if I get kicked and break my leg. And that's great. I mean, kudos to them. Not all of us have those options though. And so some people's answer is just put money into a separate savings account in case they're injured. Another thing people don't really think of when you say insurance in case you get injured. Make sure that you're networking ahead of time with local farriers that could cover you in the event that you get injured, instead of waiting till, oh crud, I just broke my leg and now who's going to cover all my clients? I don't know anybody. That's the kind of part of your insurance policy, knowing people and making sure that they understand that you guys will cover each other.
So your physical insurance empire around you, the farrier's empire.
Right.
Absolutely.
And hopefully your friends out there that are covering for you, I I've done a little bit of covering for other farriers injured. And when I work on their
Okay.
clients' horses, I ask the client to make the check and pay them because I'm okay.
That's just an added bonus. That's a triple added bonus.
That is a
but
very
not
added
losing
bonus.
Your clients is the critical component.
Keeping your clients together, but I know they're not. Most of them aren't drawing anything, and it's not necessarily much if you look at the big picture, because I can only cover so many of them. But I always ask the people to write the check and send it to your farrier so they've got a little something.
Well, that's cool. That's very, very interesting. All right, we're going to take one more quick little break and let you get back to playing with your ponies here shortly. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. What? What are you whispering for? I don't know. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. If you'd like this podcast to perform out at your clinic or your location, or we can do this, we can bring this right to your front doorstep, right to your very own stall. If you've got an event going on or any kind of like those fall activities, reach out to Mike Stine. Go to equinedynamics.com. At the very top of the page says clinics. Fill out that little form. We'll pencil you in. Mike can also, he's got a bunch of skeletons, a bunch of
Skeletons in my closet.
He's got a bunch of skeletons and models and foot parts and freeze-dried animal bits that he can bring to a location for more of a demonstration type deal. Reach out to him as well, and you can see all that over on the YouTube channel. Just search Equine Dynamics Mike Stine over on YouTube. Forgot where I was going with that, but anyways.
Somewhere.
And my very own guy who keeps me on pace over to my far inside is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you, Eva?
I'm on Eva.
How are you? How are you, Travis?
I'm good.
You can go by Eva. It doesn't matter.
Oh, once a week I gotta do this. And joining us this week on the show, all the way from almost Colorado, all the way from Oregon,
A little further than Colorado.
a little further than Colorado, accredited farrier Eva Clark is joining us this week on the show, and I thank you for bearing with us and tolerating us this week on the show, Eva. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm medicated.
So, what did we learn this week, Mike?
What did we learn this week?
Talking about the farrier industry, Eva was talking how important it is for mentoring. So, Eva?
The biggest takeaway from that is absolutely make time for ongoing education in the form of ride with multiple mentors, and don't ever stop doing that. Your career should never end and your education should never end.
And some of them are tormentors.
True story. True story.
And Mike, you want to add a little bit more to that?
What? Yeah, no, I mean, I've had a lot of mentors over the years, and it really has changed and guided the direction of what I do.
And you still reach out to them to this day, no matter how much you've learned.
The ones that I can reach to, yes.
Yeah. Also, in the farrier industry, customer service, how important it is. Eva?
It's critical, honestly. If your clients don't trust you, then you're not the right farrier for them, and that comes from good customer service.
Right.
Mike, go ahead.
No, that is for sure. I mean, if they don't, you're fighting a losing battle.
And along with that customer service, I would assume, because the only way we would have found Mike is word of mouth. We didn't, pull Mike's, number off his truck as he went flying by in the neighborhood. So
Worksite Porta Johns.
having good customer service can also get you more business as far as like word of mouth as well.
They get you good referrals, you're not the bad ones.
Yes, exactly. Also, and farrier in the farrier industry, business management and how important it is to not listen to your farriers as far as getting advice. Eva, explain a little bit more on that one.
Always stick with subject matter experts. If you want financial advice, talk to a certified person like a CPA. If you want insurance advice, speak to the insurance agent. Other farriers have lots of personal experiences, but they're not the subject matter experts.
Right.
Mike?
No, I'd say that for sure. You like we were talking earlier about contact your CPA, and I've got plenty of clients that have different avenues of what they do that sometimes I do ask some of them advice.
And Mike's fortunate enough where his wife is in that community, that business and stuff. He just basically turns all his paperwork over to his wife, and his wife goes, "Here you go, get busy.
Here's the pile.
Yeah, here you go." All right, Eva,
It goes in the box.
how can our listeners find you? How can they get a hold of you? Reach out to you if you have any questions or get any advice from you as well.
I can be reached by phone, 541-968-9840. I can be reached by email, evaclark@hotmail.com. And it's a pretty huge community, the Farrier community. So I'm on Facebook, and I'm friends with a pretty large portion of the community.
And as far as like your actual territory that you cover, what area are you physically in?
I'm kind of in west central Oregon. It's in Lane County. I travel quite a bit. Unfortunately, I do go outside the county. I shouldn't, but I do. But mostly Lane County, Oregon.
Well, we'd like to thank Eva Clark for joining us this week on Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Eva, and it's always a treat.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
On behalf of Mike Stine over there,
Have a good day. Enjoy your ponies.
my name is Travis, saying see you next week. Great.
Now we can talk crap about it.
Great success. Great success. Eva, thank you so much for bearing with us while I had that little hiccup there. It's frustrating when you sit here and you're like, going, I'm going to be on a podcast with two professionals, and then something like this
She
happens.
finds out they're not really professionals.
No.
I knew Mike was involved,
Yes, this is a given, right?
So this is what's going to happen now.
Good night, Ned. Night, Dusty.
Mike's
Good
going
night,
to go
Ned.
away. He's
Good
going to
night,
go
Ned.
do work and stuff. I will start.